no-knead bread. Very simple. We just have flour, salt, self-rising yeast, and water. So very, very simple. So stay tuned. You won't have to worry about seeing that on the camera. It takes 12 to 18 hours for it to rise, and then we cook it in the oven, in a Dutch oven. Okay, we've got our flour, our yeast, our salt mix in here. I measured out my water. It's room temperature. It's like 77, 78 degrees. It's just right out of the tap. Room temperature is a certain temperature, but it's pretty open. And now I'm just using my KitchenAid to kind of, with the hook, just to kind of knead this all together. A little simpler than doing it by hand, of course. I might have to come up here and knock down the sides with a spatula, just so we can get all the dough. We're just going to let that mix for a little while until it comes together and we form a ball. Okay, I've got a piece of parchment paper, so I'm going to spray with a little bit of olive spray here, and all I'm going to do is throw this out on the paper. I have a little more mixing to do. Just got to get this formed as a ball. That was mixing, that really wasn't kneading per se. Coming together now, slowly but surely. So when I finish, you'll see the finished product. Well, as you can see, we got our ball formed. It's rough, but that's fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place it with the parchment down in the pot. You can even cook it with the parchment in here if you want to. That's perfectly fine. And what I'm doing is I'm placing the lid of my Dutch oven on there. I need to grab some pot hose. We had this warming up. And it's going to go inside of my oven overnight. 12 to 18 hours. Well, one minor correction. It's been over a year since I made this. I've made it quite a bit over a year ago. I'm going back to it again. We really like it. I don't know why I stopped making it for last year. But it should go in a glass bowl in your oven. The oven needs to be turned off. That's just a good place to store it. Covered with plastic wrap. We won't be using the Dutch oven till tomorrow when we cook it. Well, our bread has been rising, as you can see. It's about doubled, if not 2.5 times its size. It's been about 18 hours. You can go anywhere from 12 to 24 hours. We're preheating the oven now with a Dutch oven inside of it to 450 degrees, and we'll show the next step where we'll be putting the bread inside of the Dutch oven and baking it. Okay, the oven is preheated and the Dutch oven is preheated. We now have to get the bread into it. It's going to be a little doughy, so I'm going to have to put a little bit of flour on my hands and on top of it just to help work with it. So it's getting a little bit of flour. Yeah. over my hands. Okay. Doesn't take a lot. Just take it out. Transfer it over to the Dutch oven. It's going to rise back up some more. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple of small splits in the top, which helps the crust kind of go. And I've got to use these pot holders. This Dutch oven is very hot. And now it's going for 30 minutes covered in a 450 oven, and the last 10 to 15 minutes uncovered. Got to open my oven and then I'll put it in. Won't be able to hold the camera and show that. Put it in the oven about middle way back, and it's now going to go for 30 minutes. Well, our bread just came out of the oven. It went for 450, 30 minutes covered, which kind of helps steam it, and then 15 minutes uncovered. It's really hot. It just a second came out of the oven. So I'm going to try to transfer it over to this cooling rack without burning my fingers. I think I'm going to have to use the oven mitts. It'll almost just dump out. So there we go. I'll just dump it out. And we're just going to let it cool there. Can't slice it until it completely cools. It's a pretty dense bread, but it's very tasty, especially with some butter on it.